changed jobs recently, thinking about changing your job, it's actually a really common way for people to earn more money, right? Changing jobs and finding new employers. It works out a lot better in most cases, or in many cases, than trying to get a pay raise from your current employer. A lot of people have found success doing that. But what happens to your old company retirement plan when you leave that job? Do you have any options? And if so, what are they? Hi, my name is Sid Misra, and I'm a certified financial planner who is passionate about financial education. I believe that the more you understand the financial system, the more that you can use it to your advantage. Now, that goes for those who are just starting out in their journey, those who have been traveling for some time, and those who are nearing retirement. So, the good news is for those who have an old company retirement plan, you do have options. What are those options? What are the pros and the cons? Let's get into it. So the first option is actually the most common because it's the default option, leaving it where it is at your old employer plan. Now this is the most common, option that people take because many people change jobs and just forget about their old plan. They're caught up in changing new jobs and, starting off in that new role and trying to fit into that new company, and they completely forget that they have an old plan at their employer. Now, the good thing is that plan is still going to be invested. Their money is still going to be invested. However, they set up their allocation at the beginning. It's going to grow tax deferred. And many times, the investment options that you find in 401k plans are often cheaper than what you would find out in the open market. And that's because those big plans have the scale to be able to do that. They can get, cheaper fees because of the scale and the amount of assets in those plans. Now, some of the drawbacks to keeping your money in an old plan is this. If you have less than $5,000 in that account, you may be forced to take that as a distribution because the old plan will not hold on to those assets. Keeping your money in an old plan as well does not allow for you to contribute to that account and to that plan. Because you're not an employer there, you're not able to contribute to it. You're only able to contribute to the new plan that you may be offered at your new company. And because this is an old plan, in-service withdrawal options may be limited. You may not be able to take out a loan. You may not be able to take out a distribution depending on how the plan is set up. You're going to want to check with that old plan and look at the language and see what are the rules when you're not an employer, excuse me, when you're not an employee and you're keeping money in the old plan. The second option that you have with old 401k money or old retirement plan money at your old employer is to possibly roll it into your new company's plan. Now, not every company allows for that, but the ones that do, it's an option for you to do that. Now, some of the benefits of doing that are, again, you're rolling it into a retirement plan where you're keeping that tax deferred status. So your money is going to be able to grow tax deferred. You may also have access to good investment options there. Again, these big plans have access to cheaper fees and cheaper investment options. And depending on some of the plans, you may be able to, if you're old enough and required minimum distributions are an issue coming up, you may be able to defer taking out that money required by an RMD or a required minimum distribution because of the plan language and the way the plan was set up. So that may be a benefit to you by rolling it into your new company plan. But some of the drawbacks to that are having to understand the rules of the new plan. Your old plan may have allowed for in-service withdrawals or distributions, whereas the new plan may not. And the new plan may not have the investment options that you're looking for. So you're going to want to make sure that you look at the plan documents and you assess what they have available and what are some of the restrictions and constraints on plan participants. Hey everyone, taking a quick break here. Don't worry, we're going to get back into the remaining two options that you have for your old 401k. They're very valuable, so please stay tuned. But before we get back into this, if you're finding this video valuable, please give it a like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and pushing this video to other people that may find this valuable as well. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for it. Now let's get back into the options that you have for your old company 401k. Option number three is a very popular option. It's rolling that old company plan into an IRA. an individual retirement account that you control. Now, you can set up your own IRA at a bank, at a brokerage account, but you're going to want to do the research to make sure you understand the fees associated with it, what the investment options are, and ultimately, you're going to have to pick those investments. The IRA is just the account, it's not the investments themselves. Those have to be selected. Now, again, some of the benefits are this money gets to grow tax deferred, which is great, right? You're keeping that tax deferred status even though you've rolled it into an IRA. Now, for those who are under the age of 59 and a half, you're able to, in an IRA, take a withdrawal for a first-time home purchase or educational expenses without a penalty. And that's one of the benefits of doing that with an IRA. And as mentioned previously, opening up an IRA at a bank or a brokerage account gives you a ton of different investment options. There's many different investment options out there. You just have to do the research and figure out which ones align with your goals. And the last benefit is this: you get to consolidate all of your accounts in one place. If you're someone that has moved from multiple jobs and consistently done that throughout your working career, that's a lot of retirement plans to manage. And if you've kept them all at your old employer, that could be multiple, 5, 6, 7 plans that you'd have to manage across different companies and accounts. An IRA allows you to consolidate all of that in one place, and the next time you leave an employer, you can roll that old plan into the IRA that you have already set up. Now, some of the drawbacks include when you turn age 72, you're going to be required to take out distributions to satisfy the government's requirement and so that they can tax you on that. And this is also true if you're still working, right? Many 401k plans allow you to not have to take out the RMDs, the required minimum distribution, if you're still working, but unfortunately, an IRA does not give you that option. And on the creditor protection side, 401k plans generally offer more creditor protection if you're going through, a bankruptcy or some financial difficulties, whereas an IRA itself does not. Now, to that point, certain states may have their own laws for that, for IRAs and creditor protection. So you're going to want to read up on that and make sure you understand the laws in your state when it comes to creditor protection of your IRA. Now, one important thing to note is this. In your old company retirement plan, if you have pre-tax money and you want to roll it into an IRA, that's going to go to a traditional IRA. And if you have after-tax money or even Roth money in those retirement plans, that would go to a Roth IRA account. Just a quick reminder for everyone out there. Now, the last option, option 4, is cashing out your old retirement plan and taking that as cash, right? Taking receipt of that in your bank account or getting a check. That is kind of a last case scenario, break glass in case of emergency. It's not an option that we would recommend unless you absolutely need the cash available to you. If I'm taking out a cash out of my old 401k or old retirement plan and I get that money to myself, if I'm under the age of 59 and a half, I have to deal with penalties and I will also have to deal with taxes as well. And I think the biggest drawback to this, outside of the taxes and penalties that you're going to have to pay, is the opportunity cost of missing out on those years of investments. Again, this is a break glass in case of emergency scenario. If you need the money, it may make sense. But taking out, money, retirement money, money that's going to be able to grow tax deferred and ultimately help you and fund your nest egg, taking that out now or taking that out too soon is going to be you foregoing, years of potential gains, years of being invested in the market. There's an opportunity cost to that. The money that you use today means that you may not have that tomorrow. And that's something that you're going to have to think about and factor in when you're making that decision. So again, we went over 4 options on what to do with your old 401k plan. Obviously, the first one is just keep it where it is, the default option, even if you forget that you have it. The second one is, if possible, moving it into your new company plan. You're going to have to check with them and see if that's an option for you. The third option is rolling it into an IRA, an individual retirement account, giving yourself a little bit more options on the investment choices and how you want to invest that money. And the fourth option, which is a last case scenario, is cashing out, paying taxes and possible penalties to get that money in cash. Make sure you understand the pros and cons of each decision. Make sure you understand how they're going to affect you in your context, right? It may work for somebody else, but your context is your own, and you need to evaluate these decisions within your context and your framework. And I want to make a note here, if you're confused on the options, if you have questions, reach out to a professional. Ask them how you should go about doing this, and they're going to hopefully give you some guidance based on your overall financial picture and what you're trying to accomplish. This is too important to just make a decision in haste. This is too important to just, not think things through. You want to understand the options and what they mean when you make that decision. I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope you got some value out of it. I would really appreciate if you found it valuable to give me a like on YouTube and also hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.